Well, this task is a very easy task, but it can be challenging to students at times. So you're looking at the concept of relative versus absolute relative. So we're just going to look at the practical part of it, and that's the best way you can master the concept of relative and absolute. Then later on, we're also going to use the absolute and relative concepts in VLookUp and HLookUp. All right, to start here, I have my column here, which is showing sales, and I've got a commission. I need to calculate how much commission do I have after having such sales. Then also given the commission percent, which is 15%, discount percent, which is 9%. So if I'm just going to calculate this without using the concept of absolute, which I'm going to discuss a bit later, we're going to look at simple calculation of commission. So I'm told my commission is 15%. So one would come and put an equal sign, then rewrite the 15%. So 15%. So to have the percent sign, it's shift and 5 on your PC. Also, 15% of something means you're multiplying. So 15% multiplied by my sales. Then I press enter. Then I copy down my calculation. So I can gain that with my commission 15% of this, I'm getting 75. And if I check on the calculation here, when I'm in this cell, this is row number 6. When I do the calculation, my formula is 15% multiplied by A6. A6 being this value 500. Because I copied down, it's taking me one step down. So it's increasing the value, the cell reference by 1 from A6 to E to A7. Because when I calculated initially, I used 15% of A6. Now it's 15% of A7 going down, A8, A12, right up to the last. So the same applies here if I want my discount. If I want my discount, I can manually do it. Equals to 9% multiplied by my sales. It's still discount based on sales. Then I just press enter. So my calculation is here 9% multiplied by A6. So if I copy down here, if you check this one, I've manually timed the percentage is 15% and 9%. So they are not changing, they are constant. But what is changing here is automatically from A6 to A7, A8, so 9% of A8, 9% of A9, up to 9% of A17. So this method where your cell reference is increased by 1 every time you are copying down, it's known as a relative reference as I'm moving from A6 to A7. So we are moving to the other alternative, and I'll show you the advantage of using it later on. So this time, I'm not going to manually put 15% or 9% because I already have those values. So what I'm going to do here is I will point to the cell which has got the 15%. My 15% is in this cell multiplied by my sales. So 15% multiplied by my sales, which is in what? In J6. So press enter. So my answer is coming out is 75, just like the one that I calculated earlier. But now the issue is I need to copy down the formula now. So if I copy down the formula like I did earlier on, but now if I copy down the formula, our answer here 75, 75, they are the same. But if I go down, this one is correct, 225, but this one is not. It's giving me 135. Now let's try to check where the error is. So if I look at my calculation, I'm using this value, which is what 15%, and it's in a cell H1. So all my calculations should be having H1 multiplied by something. So like the first one, H1 multiplied by J6. The second one, H1 multiplied by J7, but that's not what happened here. Now what happened in the second one, it's actually using H2. If I go and check H2 here, I'm actually having a discount percentage, which is wrong. And going down is going to H3, which is what? Which is nothing. Up to here, H12, which is what? Which is nothing. So it's incrementing both sides, the left and the right, isn't it? Both cells, H1 and J, isn't it? So this is J6. So J6 is fine. It has to be incremented. J7, J8, but H1 should not be incremented, which means H1 is a constant value in our formula. So what are we going to do? What we're just going to do is, these are wrong answers. So to fix that, I just go to the correct calculation, which is H1 multiplied by J6. So this value is supposed to be constant. So I have to use a dollar sign before H and a dollar sign after H, like that. Then I press enter. So putting a dollar sign before H and after H, it simply means this value 15% is not going to change. This cell reference H1 is not supposed to change. So if I copy down the formula, now my answers will be the same. You can see 225, 675 up to the last. So if you are using a constant value, your formula has to be include the dollar signs to make it constant, or to log the value. So if we logged the value H1, because we are using 15% throughout. So I hope you've mastered the concept. So we're simply going to say equals to, for discount, 9% multiplied by sales. If you copy down without logging, it will give you wrong answers. And I know now, I hope you now know why it's giving you wrong answers. We are multiplying everything by H2, but here is going to H3, H18. So what we need to do, as we have done earlier, we have to lock this cell. So you can manually type a dollar sign before and a dollar sign after H. Or on your keyboard, you can hit the F4, or if it's a laptop, you can use a function key and F4 that can lock for you. But try to use the manual method if the shortcuts are not working. A dollar sign before H, a dollar sign after H. So press enter, you copy down. Now my both answers are the same. So you can see this is how my absolute reference works. So if you have constant value, I have to copy down. Now the reason why it's advisable to use absolute is sometimes maybe the commission will increase maybe to 16%. You see what happens? The value here changes automatically. If my discount changes to 10%, my values, the absolute values will change automatically. But here these are constant. We have manually typed 15 and 9%. It doesn't change. So let's look at VLookUp. So the concept of VLookUp, we are going to use the team here. I've done another video about VLookUp, so you can also refer to that video. So I'm using team to look up. I'm using this column team to look up for the country, the Champions League, the games played, the points earned, etc. So using VLookUp, so I'm using VLookUp because these columns, this data is vertical. My headings at the top and my data going down. So to get a country here, I can simply say equal to VLookUp, then X lookup value. So my lookup value here is this team, the table array. This is my table array. I'm using this whole table. Then column index, country is in column number 2. Range lookup, make it 0. Then 0 because we want an exact value. So click on OK. But if I copy down here, I might get a wrong answer. You see? So something need to be remembered again. I'm getting a wrong answer here. It's because of my range here. My range has been changed. My range should be constant. So to make my range constant here, I go back to my formula and lock this range. So this table array, I'm locking using absolute function and F4, or you can put a $sign before B, $sign after B, $sign before F, $sign after F. Okay, then you can copy down. So it saves you the time of doing it manually. So I want you to try to do the same on these remaining ones. The same goes to the HLOOKUP concept. So this time our headings are in the left side and our data is moving across. Left the heading and the data is across. That's why we are using the HLOOKUP. So I'm using team to look up for the country. So I will use equals to HLOOKUP. So this time I'm using the HLOOKUP fx. So lookup value I'm using alright, so equals to HLOOKUP. So lookup value I'm using H4 was my team here is in H4. Then table array, I'm using this whole table, and this whole table needs to be logged. So make sure you lock your table. Then row index, we are looking for a country. Country is in row number 1, 2 of our selection. Then range lookup always 0. So now you can copy down. Don't remember to lock the range. So equals to HLOOKUP, then lookup value. This time is still the same, which is H4, table array, the whole table, and you have to lock this using the $signs. So we lock using $signs. Make this constant. We don't want the table array to change. Row index number, we are looking for Champions League. This is now in column 1, row number 1, 2, 3. Champions League is row number 3. Range lookup 0. So when you copy down, there are no errors.